From young, I learned that money means security. And it was good in a way, but it was also bad because that was what I was chasing all the while. And only to realize that money is not secure. People want to talk about themselves because some of them, they share that nobody listens to them. And that hurts me and it just saddens me. And they are so happy that I'm willing to listen to them. What's the point of having all the money in the world, but you have no one to celebrate with, no one to share the joy with you, and you are all alone by yourself?
Welcome to Before We Get There, the podcast where we explore people's life paths, the moments of change, and how we make sense of where we are now. I'm your host, Nicholas Braman, and today I'm joined by Michelle Lee. Michelle did what most people only dream about. She planned her retirement at 18, hit her number in her early 30s, and never has to work again. But what happens after you reach the finish line you spent your whole life running toward? In this conversation, we talk about the identity crisis comes with stepping away from a career that defined her, why she chose to become a part-time private hire driver despite having no financial reason to work, what years of grinding in survival mode cost her in relationships, and what she learned about money, security, and what actually makes life feel full. If you've ever wondered whether the thing you're chasing will actually give you what you think it will, this conversation is for you. Enjoy the show. Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hello, Nicholas. It's my pleasure.
I'm really looking forward to talking to you, and I think you have a really interesting story. So you retired quite young, and now you're off doing these other projects and your own business and sharing your journey online. So what I wanted to start it off with is you had a very successful career in finance and you were like top of your game. And then I heard you say before you felt some burnout and decided to retire. So can you share how long was it that you were feeling the burnout? How did it take you long to realize, I'm done with this high-speed career?
For me, I always have a vision. I have goals since young. And before retirement, I actually did a lot of planning for clients. But at the same time, I also planned for myself. So I joined the financial industry since the age of 20. And I started investing since I was 18. So when I had this, I had an end in mind, right? At the end of all this working and investing, what do I want to do? I want to be financially free. And when I talk about retirement, especially when you tell people you're retired, the first thing they think is, wow, it's so nice to be not working, right? And during the burnout, I was thinking, since I already hit the top, what will be next for me? Because in a sales job, the number resets every year, right? And whatever you do, it is back to zero.
Right.
And it's very tiring because how many policies and how many investments plan can your clients get, right? And at that point, I knew that I have to have a backup plan. Okay, I knew that I have to do something that I truly love if money is not in the picture. So I asked myself, what truly makes me happy and what is enough? Having enough is very different for everybody. When I talk about retirement, they think that it's an age. But retirement is a financial number, right? And I worked that number out. For a year, I sat on it, okay? Because when I shared with my coworkers or especially your boss, they will never approve of it. They think that, hey, you are still very young, you're doing very well, why not, upgrade your house, upgrade your car, upgrade your lifestyle? And I'm like, but I'm not this kind of person. I'm content. I like what I have. I don't need so many material things. I focus on experiences in life and relationships with people. And that is what truly matters to me. So it was a very hard decision to make because of how much my identity was tied to my job as a financial advisor, right? And people think that every time they see me, is you are the finance and money person, but out of my job, what am I? I've been questioning, right? And I was thinking, I talked to a friend and she said, come on, let's look back at your, childhood till now. What job makes you happy? And when I reflect upon that, I was actually happy doing part-time jobs, doing being a promoter, sales promoter, being doing odd jobs. I was so happy even though it didn't make a lot of money because of all the interaction I have with people, all the little experiences that I wouldn't get from my job as a financial planner. Right? Because being on the ground, you see so much more. And I think this is why I like my current job as a private hire driver, part-time, even though I'm doing part-time. I feel very humbled and on the ground. I get to see people who struggle, people who are doing well. Compared to being a financial planner, I only get to see my high net worth clients and they are all doing well financially. So it's very different. It really humbles me and keeps me happy.
So you said you made the decision from very young or from an early age to go into the financial planning industry. How did that decision come about? And for the first years until you decided to retire, was it fulfilling? Did you enjoy it?
I didn't come from money. So what does it mean is that I started investing since I was 18 because I started reading books on successful people and a lot of them started with investing. So I learned how to invest since the age of 18. I invested in gold and silver and stocks because 18 years old was the legal age then in Singapore to start an investment account. And I did that and I worked on my investment and accumulating and saving. I saved a lot of money. I was very frugal. And when I finally reached the financial number that I wanted to retire, sorry, what was the question?
Since you said
so
you
since the day when I tendered, right? The day when I tendered my resignation letter was the day I was finally free from anything from a job. And most people would think that, you pop champagne to go to somewhere to celebrate, but it feels like another normal day. Right? In fact, you feel empty for a while because you're thinking, so what's next for me? Because I'm someone who wants new challenges in life. I still need to grow. Right? So I was there doing retirement life for 6 months. I went on hike with my friend, which planted this idea on me. Like, hey, why have you considered being a private hire driver? Since you have a car and you enjoy driving and it's really flexible. And I was like, why not? Yeah, let's do it. And when that happens, I didn't think that I would have so many stories to share, so many life experiences and, wisdom to share with my audiences, which really inspire them as well. Not just me. Yeah. And that is what I enjoy doing now.
That's great. So going back to when you came to the decision time, you hit your number, you knew for a long time. This is part like your job. That's what you're advising other people on as well, right? When you get to your number, you can retire. But you said it took you a whole year to finally make the decision. What was that feeling inside? Was it mention identity? Was it worry that, what if some mishap happens and I don't have enough, funds? Or what were kind of the doubts or the hesitation?
Definitely, concerns. When I make the decision to retire, right, my biggest concern is what am I going to do? It's not about how much money, whether I'll have enough to survive and all this, because I definitely know I have more than enough in my lifetime to spend what I want. Because in general, I live below my means, right? And I'm a very resourceful person. And I feel that, and I know that with skill sets, with useful skill set in life, there's no way you go hungry. It's not, especially in Singapore. Right? We live in a very good environment where government is very supportive of us upgrading ourselves. And for me, I do content. My revenue comes from there. My investments give me passive income. And it wasn't a worry. The worry is more of like, how am I going to continue my life since most people retire at the age of 60 or even like 50. And I have so many years ahead. I'm more than 20 years ahead or 30 years ahead of time. It means that to me, this is a luxury. These 30 years, I can do so much more. I could create new things for myself. And this brings me back to during my time as a caregiver, I had to care for elderlies who are in their 90s, right? And these two elderly are extreme. They are very wealthy, and one is on government help assistance and all this. And what is one common denominator is that their health is poor. So I know that if, let's say, I were to continue in my role, being burnt out and unhappy with my life, that I will end up just like them, be it whether I'm rich or poor. So I truly want to, take a step back, enjoy what I have built over the years since young, okay, enjoy the wealth that I have, help people around me, and be useful in whatever I do.
So you said it didn't, the day that you officially retired just felt like any other day. Did it eventually hit you? Like, wow, I'm not going to the office if I don't want to ever again? Ever like sink in?
Yeah, when I quit, right? Because I'm so used to meeting people for meals, eating out, celebrate their birthdays together. But I always realize that it's always with an intention. It's with an intention to, close a new sale or whatever, because of how your bosses will be. You met this person. What did you do? Was it something productive or what? But once I quit my job, I felt that I could be genuinely be in the moment, just be with this person without thinking whether this person could be my potential client, or whether I get potential sale or referral from this. Yeah, I felt so free. I felt so being myself, and I start to be more creative with what I write and share with the world.
That's actually something I wanted to ask you about. I think, especially in Singapore, some of the this kind of sales industries like financial advisor, insurance agent, there's a kind of stigma for kind of the way that some people act when they're in these professions. You mentioned always an agenda behind wanting to meet and that sort of thing. How did you feel about that during your career, and did it change after you left?
When I first joined the industry, your managers always says it's always about numbers game. Um, my business are mainly from cold clients, so I get the thrill and the joy, the dopamine from people, from strangers to being clients and friends. I feel so happy. And that's why I enjoy the career so much. Right? It seems like at the end of the day, only strangers will support you more than people closest to you. But because of how the industry has transformed to how you are not able to do cold calling anymore, everything is all referral. It's all very predictable. People trust me very too easily somehow. And I have to caution that please don't do this to someone else because it's very dangerous. I know I'm someone up there, blah, 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 but not everybody is like this. You really have to be careful, especially your money, because there are people that, can I just pay you now, everything, 100K, 200K? I say, no, not to my account, please. Right? Don't do that. And that's a trust that I do not want to betray, that, that my clients gave me and my friends and family give me. Okay, which is why I feel that at the end of the day, it's important to have strong ethics and values.
Understood. So I want to go back to that 6 month period before you started doing private hire driving. Was it were you actively like seeking, okay, what do I want to do next and trying different things, or were you able to relax and enjoy the time without work?
I was very relaxed. I spent a lot of time with my family, babysitting my nephews, being in the moment, you know, uh, doing my nature walks, reading, and really just be in the moment. And I could observe how people were so stressful in Singapore. And I can understand that because of how the cost of living and the demands of our job by our bosses and companies can really take a toll, especially if you have children to care for. Right? And for me, I'm very fortunate. I don't have children. I just have myself to care for. And it is a very fortunate situation to be in. Because of this, I'm able to contribute in other ways to my family, people with children, or even friends and close friends who need help in their life. I can be just there for them. Yeah. So this 6 months, uh, no, I didn't have any. What was it?
thinking about what you're going to do next because you mentioned
Okay.
yeah.
So in these 6 months, there's no anxiety of how I'm going to do it, but more of how am I going to live with a structure, with a system for the rest of my life. Because I can't be staying at home and resting all the way. So I have to do things. I did things like volunteering work. I drive in the mornings, maybe 2 to 3 people, and in the evening. And some of them do engage with me and share their life stories with me. It makes driving more enjoyable.
Yeah, so that's interesting when you share a lot of your stories. Personally, I'm the kind of person, I don't talk a lot. In the car, sometimes I'm in the mood, like, I don't know, for some reason, often when I get home from trip and I'm the cab home from the airport, sometimes I feel like talking, feels like, oh, I'm back in Singapore, back home, and I want to talk to a friendly face. But often, if I'm going to a meeting or heading to the office, I'm, pretty quiet. Are you the one who starts the conversations, or do they talk to you first?
Personally, I do by observation. Okay, if I see this person is a bubbly kind of person, I'll probably strike a conversation. Especially they are really interesting. They dress very, very stylishly, or they are more chatty. I'll talk to them. Otherwise, most of the time I'm also very quiet. I like quiet drives as well because it keeps me focused. But the stars just align and somebody just pour out to you and share with you for that short journey. It really keeps me humble and thankful that they are willing to share their deepest feelings and thoughts with me and have me learn something from it as well.
What about before you drove, when you were a passenger? Were you the kind of person to talk to the drivers?
I drive in Singapore. I don't really talk to the drivers, but when I do, it's because I want to learn how is their lifestyle.
I had one of the most interesting rides. My daughter had just been born. She was in KKH hospital, and I got this taxi uncle who picked me up to take me back home. And it was late at night because I just finished with the visiting hours, and he knew, of course, coming from KKH, that somebody is there. So he asked me what I was doing there, and I told him, "Oh, my daughter was just born." He gave me congratulations, and then he started telling me about his family and his 2 wives in different countries.
The whole generation. Yeah, I try not to talk about myself at all unless people are curious, because I don't really enjoy talking about myself that much. I'm more curious about people.
About themselves.
Yeah, and people want to talk about themselves because some of them, they share that nobody listens to them. And that hurts me and it just saddens me. And they are so happy that I'm willing to listen to them.
Yeah, it's like the rise of the AI chatbots that people need to talk to.
They feel that I'm ChatGPT sometimes.
And so I guess this was it a surprise? This is like one of the benefits or one of the aspects to this new career of driving?
This hobby of mine is something unexpected that what keeps me going is I get to meet someone special. Yeah, not a life partner special, but special story to tell me, life wisdom to share with me that will leave a mark in my life. And of course, with the readers when I share this to the world.
And were there any unexpected challenges? Like maybe if you don't think about it, you think, oh, it's just driving a car, it shouldn't be too hard.
That was what I thought. But being in customer service is tough because these people don't just come as a human, they come with their own challenges and their own insecurities. People can have a bad day and they just throw it on you. Right? And for long hour of driving, you definitely meet more of such people. But even during my short drives, I do encounter such people. And when I do encounter such people, especially angry people, I have to take a break. I have to take a pause and recalibrate myself again. And I have the luxury of doing so because I have a safety net and a passive income, right? But for people who don't, there's no choice. They have to continue and it may snowball. And that's why I feel that the mental health of drivers have to take note. Yeah, it's really tough. And I hope that people can be kinder to drivers in general. Don't treat them like a slave. Okay. Don't think that every driver is out to, make money from your waiting fee or to have to attend to all your weird requests that is against the rule.
And so doing this and getting to meet the other passengers and the other drivers, has it shifted anything in your thinking or given you a new perspective that you hadn't thought of before?
Personally, I have not met any driver face to face. Usually it's online, and I can understand because time is money. A lot of time is used to be on the roads or resting, right? We just chat online. For passengers, some of them they still follow me on my journey online. But most of the time is you share with me whatever, and we just live off as it is. Yeah, and it's fun that way because I don't know you, you don't know me.
Right.
And most of them, they don't see how I look like since I'm with my mask all the time.
And so then how did content creation and sharing online?
Yes, because I saw that when I wanted to start this journey, there wasn't much information online. There was no one sharing about, hey, how much does it cost? What are the methods to do this? There were information all over the place. So I decided to share, especially when I was driving an electric vehicle, right, Tesla. Most people have misconception about it, about how vehicle charging is and etc. And I was there to debunk this misconception. Yeah.
And so you actually started more to share for other people who are thinking about driving.
No, I just share about my daily life, like how is it like, and somehow the algorithm reached out to people who are thinking of doing it as a job. I would just want to be relatable to people, because the world is so technology now, is so AI. I want human touch, right? Even the content that I see is all nothing deep. I want things to be deep for people to think deeper, like what is the reason behind the money that you're making? What is the reason behind of working so hard? Because otherwise you will just be on a treadmill. It's a rat race. Keep chasing and only to realize that time has just passed.
And so what are the kinds of responses or engagement you get from your community online that make it fulfilling for you?
Make it fulfilling. When readers tell me that thank you for sharing this, it makes me rethink about my life and how I should treat people and how I should live my life better. And it fulfills me. It makes me happy that, okay, I make a difference.
That's good. Do you spend more time on creating content now or driving?
Creating content. Driving only takes about 2 to 3 hours a day. Yeah. And I don't drive. Usually I don't drive on weekends.
I see.
Yeah.
So do you have a long-term plan or idea about how long you want to continue driving for? Or do you have a goal or a cutoff that you say, okay, if I'm not happy enough doing this, I will stop, or anything like that?
Driving will still be what I'll be doing. I don't stop because the good thing about driving is if I were to go to some place, I can just pick somebody on the way or on the way back. That's about it I can do if let's say I just want to stop driving altogether. Yeah, but most of the time, I do affiliate marketing. I do coaching as well. So there's no plans to totally stop driving. But in the future, I might have to because of how the government is moving towards autonomous driving services. Right? So I have to enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah. So you mentioned you also do coaching. So that's also finance related, right?
I do money coaching where I get into the behavioral side of money or finance, not on the stocks and investment, but more of how people have anxiety and fears about money, right? And recently we have this thing called sudden wealth syndrome, where people suddenly become rich from investment, like crypto or property or inheritance, and they feel lost. There's a rise of this now, generational wealth.
That sounds like a nice problem to have, though.
Yeah, you think so, but these people are suffering. And when I was a financial planner, I realized that I was more of a money coach to some people, right? Like how a lot of them are actually hoarding money. They save so much, but they're so worried to withdraw and enjoy themselves. They can have so much, but they are still working so hard and get themselves burnt out and feel miserable, even though they have money.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I realized that people don't just need financial planning. They need money coaching to be able to enjoy the money that they have and live a fulfilling life.
So it's more of psychology of how you
Yes.
think about
Yes, like how your childhood or certain incidents in your life that led you to behave in certain ways, like gambling, overspending, underspending, being over frugal, that kind of things. It affects people. It affects relationships as well. Yeah.
And was that because you mentioned earlier you didn't grow up with a lot of money and you were very frugal, which is why you were able to invest so much early. Did you have to work through that yourself?
Yeah, but when I was young, I was such a workaholic. If I were to look back at my life, I wish I didn't spend so much time on work. I wish I didn't give up that meeting with my friends to go for a cold call appointment. I wish I went for that holiday at the end of the year instead of listening to my manager and say, you have to stay to run for the last quarter. Yeah, I wish, and all this, I can only look back, and these are learning lessons for me. I will never prioritize work over family or friends, like close friends.
So do you think now looking back with that regret, if you could make the choice to retire 5 years later, if you had let yourself go for those friends outings and holidays, would you
Yeah, I
have taken
think
that
so too,
trade-off?
because I saw that how much friendships have I burned just by how much friendship and relationship I have burned just because I prioritize work. And because I was so young, I was on survival mode. Every single dollar and cents was more important to me than that friendship that demands my energy and my money.
What do you think what made that realization come, or what was the catalyst for?
What's the point of having all the money in the world, but you have no one to celebrate with, no one to share the joy with you, and you are all alone by yourself? So I just think that I'm happier when I really use the time to spend it, for example, with my nephews. I will give you back an example. There are times that I don't drive and I visit my nephews and just have playtime with them. Yeah, and my sister will say, "Do you know that your aunt could have used the money to drive and make more money?" And I was like, "Hey, don't say that." But I can understand because it was me last time when I was a financial planner. Instead of being at if let's say I wasn't at this birthday party, I could have been outside meeting other clients and making more money. And there's this opportunity cost. But now that I have what I have, I learned how to be in the moment and not think of the opportunity cost of being somewhere else. Because that is the luxury that I have built for and planned for. Yeah.
So was it only after you retired you were able to
Yeah.
realize that?
Yes.
And how do you
Only when I wasn't in survival mode anymore.
do you think that there's ways that other people could realize it earlier, or if you went back, if you yourself, could figure it out to have more work-life balance, to those relationships, and have a life outside of work?
I think it's very hard for this person to realize it unless something happened in their life, like loss of someone special, for them to realize that time will never bring back the person that has gone. Yeah. It's very hard for people who are focusing their time and money on work to suddenly think that I should spend more time with my family. It's hard.
And so now that you have more time, you mentioned, of course, spending more time with family, and are you also building a new community and friendship groups and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I managed to rekindle some old friends, meet them for meals and talk over good times and just be in the moment, be present. Yeah.
I think it's hard for everyone, when just trying to meet friends everybody's so busy. Everybody has their own commitments, their own responsibilities, taking care of their kids, bosses calling, like you said. It's always very hard to keep up relationships once in Singapore and once you get to a certain age anywhere you are.
That's the thing. That's when I learned about boundaries, about fixing a time aside for something that matters to you that will fulfill you instead of being like a robot and go on a repeat mode every day, the same thing. Then life will be meaningless.
Do you think the drive for you to work so hard those years, is it more your personality or the circumstances you were in, or because you had that goal, that number in mind?
For me, I didn't grow up for money. I had a very tough childhood. So unlike the relatives that I have, they have inheritance. I have nothing. Then I learned that I have to depend on myself to save up and earn as much as I can since young, which is why I started working since the age of 16 and started online business. I was selling on eBay and Yahoo since the age of 15. Yeah, and I got my first 10,000, and from there I learned how I could generate more money from it. So my life was all about money, which is why I got into financial advisory.
Right. I think it's very interesting because one thing that I grew up in the US, I'm American, and probably one of the biggest shifts, I now lived in Asia for over 15 years, both in China and Singapore for almost 12 years. One of the biggest differences that I look back and I think, why do Americans do it this way? Is that Americans, most of the time, when their kid turns 18, that's it. No
Oh,
more support. You don't, now, okay, sometimes they have a term for it now, like boomerang kids or helicopter parents because the economy is so bad. Kids have to move back in. But traditionally, once you turn 18, you go off to university and that's it.
so does that means that it makes you more driven in life?
So that's what I was just thinking when you were saying that, because for me, it's the same. I left home when I was 17. My parents were fine financially, but I didn't have any support after that. But didn't have the same reaction as you. I've only in the last few years gotten better with money, and for the first 15 years after that, my relationship with money, which maybe I need your coaching, but my relationship with money was more like very off, like hands off. Like if I have it, I have it. If I don't have it, I have it. So it's very interesting. Like the situation, you that driven and focused on your money and being financially secure.
From young, I learned that money means security. And it was good in a way, but it was also bad because that was what I was chasing all the while. And only to realize that money is not security. It's not the only thing that gives you security. So I learned. And when I learned this, I share it with people that I know, and there's like, oh, this lift a load off my back, and I don't feel so guilty spending my money now.
Did you ever have like doubts during those years you were working so hard? Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be working so hard. Maybe I should take more time for my personal life, building relationships, that sort of thing.
When I was working very hard, I didn't have a home. I was renting. I think my life changed when I have my own home, when I have a space of my own. Then I became more motivated, and I knew at the end of the day, I have a space to go back to, a home that I can rest upon. It became my motivation and my safe space. So I encourage people to be homeowners in Singapore.
I completely understand that. We just bought our first house last year, renting the whole time we've been here, and yeah, I think there's definitely a comfort factor and a secure factor. It was similar when we got PR. When you're on employment pass, you're always concerned if something happens, I'll have to leave, and the whole life that I've built here in Singapore
Exactly.
can be gone. So that was one like hurdle to feel more secure and stable. We had our kid only after we got PR
Wow.
because it didn't feel like we were stable enough before that. and then buying the house was another
You
step.
realize that you have a sense of belonging. Yeah, and that was what was a milestone in my life.
And was that before you retired?
Yeah, before I retired and after I got my house, a space of my own, I realized that I had the space and the mind, the mental space to really think what I truly want in life.
And
Especially once you clear off your mortgage, there's nothing in life that ties you down anymore.
so, do you think if you knew earlier what you know now,
Yeah, I would have quit earlier.
earlier,
Yeah, it took me so long with so much anxiety. What am I supposed to do? What would people think of me? You know, people would say, I mean, people still say it's a waste, but I know these people don't pay my bills. Waste or not, it's up to me to say. People will, I don't want you to regret this decision. I never regret any decision I make. I always make sound decisions. I don't make decisions out of emotions, not out of anger, or out of anxiety, but out of really what matters in life.
what kind of waste do they mean? That you're not still working and earning more money, or what waste do they mean?
I think the thing that I wasn't used to is having a big paycheck coming into my bank account every month. Yeah. But after a few months, you get used to it. Because you realize that even when the money was in my account, I didn't spend it.
So, are you better now at treating yourself?
Yeah. I book myself on nicer flights now.
I think that's true with a lot of people. Maybe it was one of your threads that you shared a story about somebody burning, like they were doing very well and they never booked.
Yeah, I shared that. And I always tell my friend, don't die with money. Come on, don't die with money. Don't, at the end of the day, live a miserable life and have so much money in your bank account and you don't get to spend a single cent out of it. No, don't do that. Learn how to enjoy your wealth. Learn how to enjoy your hard work.
You think it's a very
Asian thing. I think it's a very Asian thing. And it needs to change. You need to really, pamper yourself, not too much, responsibly. Right? Set a goal, set limits. Yeah.
And so I guess it's just like a mental hurdle that people have to get over to not feel that guilt. Like even if like go ahead and make the purchase or book the holiday, but then if you feel guilty while you're
then you will not enjoy it. Then you'll be resentful during the trip. It makes it so unpleasant.
So now that you've been, how long has it been since?
It's about a year plus already.
Wow, time
yeah, and I didn't think that I'll be here, writing stories, writing, videos about this and have people resonate with me. Yeah.
And so when you look forward, it's, such a nice long time ahead of you to enjoy your retirement and to figure out what you're going to do and be doing all kinds of activities. Do you have different goals now? Or what are you thinking about for your future?
My life is always about how I can be of service and value to people around me. So whoever comes into my life, be it in coaching or in their life matters, I'm always there to give good advice. And that is what matters to me now. Just enjoy life, enjoy the journey, and focus on my health.
So if I were going to talk to you again in 5 years and we're going to have another conversation, what would you like to be able to tell me has happened from now until then that would make you feel like those 5 years were successful?
Success is very subjective. I think now I'm really successful. 5 years later wouldn't change much. Maybe for me it's to see my family and all those children grow up, and do well in their life. Yeah, that's about it. For me, I don't have, because once I'm out of survival mode, I don't have a 3-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. I just be happy with what I have, continue to grow my wealth through investment and just build new experiences and memories.
Well, that's good. That's why I ask, because everyone has their own definition.
Because that's the thing.
Success.
Some people think that 5 years later they'll still be around. Nobody knows for sure. I just want to really enjoy the moment and be in the moment, be present for people. I think it's a bit morbid because personally, my father's death, he passed away at 42, it gave me a very big impact. Because I realized that from his death, I cannot take my life for granted. that I would be able to live till 90, 80, yeah. Which is why I work very hard. I want to work hard enough that in the past, I worked hard so that, if I were to become a mother one day, I can be a full-time parent to my kid. If I were to, of course, that didn't happen. I want to have the freedom to do whatever I want without having money holding me back. And that was what drove me even until today.
Yeah, that's a very young age to lose your father. I'm sorry to hear that. I lost my mom when I was 20, 26, something like that. But was that so it was a conscious decision after that to, to, make sure that you were able to live your life
Yes,
before
to
you got to
pursue
age?
what you truly want in your life and not be in your 60s and think, what if I have quit when I was 35? And, pursue a different path that people don't take. Right? This path, nobody takes this path. Like suddenly quit and, who's going to pay for your bills and all this? But because I have a financial background, I learned how to plan around this and fence around, what you said just now, unpredictable things like disability and health. That is what I was good at.
Well, I'm glad that it was great for you to hear your sharing about the lessons you've learned and that now you're able to enjoy all the fruits of all the years of work that you did. If people want to follow you online and hear more of your stories, where can they find
You
you?
can follow me on Ask Michelle Lee. I'm on Instagram and Threads. Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll put that in the show notes. And thanks again for joining.
Thanks.
It was great to talk to you.
Thank you.
We'll talk again soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Before We Get There with your host, Nicholas Braman. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Before We Get There Podcast. New episodes are released every other Thursday morning. See you next time.